forgot to ask you last time. Clive, could you let us know how old you are?
79.
Arthur, how old are you?
I was 87 in July.
Right, thank you, thank you. You were going to tell us a little bit about your father.
Not very much to tell you. He came from a tiny little village near Rugby in Lincolnshire. He was the youngest of 5 children in a small farm cottage. We went there years afterwards to see the place. Believe me, it's miles from anywhere. There's no other houses or anything, just this farm. And I don't know what regiment he was in, but like all the other youngsters, they enlisted in the First World War. And apparently he ended up in France, and the next day he was wounded, and he was back in England within 2 days. And he ended up in Hampton Road School, which was a hospital.
Right.
But I mean, apart from this, I don't know much else about it. That's where he met my mother, because everybody worked in these hospitals and things. They wouldn't work for.
Your mother worked in the hospital?
She worked there, yeah. She lived in Margaret's Road, you know, and then she was 2, I think, when they moved into Margaret's Road from Wootton.
Right. And when they
other than that, I don't know a lot about it. But
where did they first live when they got married?
In Margaret's Road, where I was born.
Right.
Apparently her parents lived there, you see.
Right.
And her mother died, and I think her father married again, but we never knew a lot about grandparents.
No.
And never knew any of my father's side. They had long since gone, because he was the youngest of 5.
Yeah.
But we did go once, my brother and I, we hired a car and we toured Lincolnshire, finding out what we could about them, but not much, because it was such an isolated place. It still is to this day. There's no building been done anywhere near it.
No. And did your father, he kept on, what did he do after he left the army?
We lived next door to Inskips, which, you know, haulage contractors, but in those days, Alec Inskip, he was only a coal merchant, 1 horse and cart. And when the war finished, the First World War finished, he doubled his business. He had 2 horses and carts, and they offered my dad the job, because we lived next door, or they lived next door to them, and he was their first employee all those years ago.
And what did he deliver?
I was one of the last ones.
What did your dad deliver with his horse and cart?
Pardon?
Was it a coal your father delivered?
Oh yeah, they only delivered coal. Yeah, he was a coal merchant.
Right.
And Inskips eventually sold out to a firm in St Mary's, Bedford, Johnny Page, and Dad moved with him because he wouldn't drive a lorry.
Right. Where did your dad get the coal from to deliver it?
There used to be a railway sidings at the Black Diamond corner.
And where's that?
As you go into Bedford past hospital over the bridge, they used in corner, there used to be a big pub on that corner previously, the Black Diamond, and it was just known as the Black Diamond corner.
Right.
On both sides of the road there were sidings where the coal wagons used to come in.
Right.
That's all ever was there, the coal wagons. Yeah.
So when this coal was delivered, where did he put the coal in people's houses?
Wherever they wanted it tipping, I suppose, in the barns. Everybody had coal in those days.
Right, so they had coal barns?
Yeah, I assume so.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember coal fires?
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. Well, we had them ourselves.
Yeah.
Because you can still remember the coal when they carried the sacks upright because they were open and just leaned forward and tipped it out. Unlike me when I was a miller, because they were all tied up and they used to rest across your shoulder.
Wow, yeah. But the weight
Life was hard in those days.
Yeah. I mean, they were very strong people. Your dad must have been a strong man.
Well, yes, but coal was only hundredweights.
Oh, right.
When I worked for a coal merchant, they were 200 and a quarter. Hundredweight and a quarter flour to go up a ladder everywhere.
Yeah. Have you got a bad back now?
Not now, no. But I think it was all that hard work that made me how I am today. I mean, I never have any medication, I don't have headaches or anything like that. I still do everything for myself at home.
Yeah.
It made me a strong man.
Yeah, and a healthy man.
Yeah.
Mm. Did you used to smoke?
I did, but years and years ago.
Mm. Because everybody smoked, didn't they?
Not very much.
Shall we talk to you a bit, Clive?
Yeah.
I think you know more than anybody about the street names in Kempston. And there's one you were telling me about, something to do with your parents.
Well, in Springfield Avenue and Margaret's Road, the family built a lot of houses. And when you go down towards the right-hand side in Margaret's Road, down towards Elstow Road, there is a little close there with about a dozen or so bungalows down there. And the name, they didn't know what to call it. So my mother being a Garner and the father being a Smith, obviously, they took the first half of Garner and the second half of Smith and made it Garnet Close out of it. So that's how it came about.
Oh, that would make a lot of sense to people now, because I think lots of people wonder where that name comes from. Yeah. What about other street names? Any stories there?
Not really, no.
I think a lot of the street names.
We lived in Addison Close, which obviously named after Addison Howard.
And your younger brother too?
Yes. My younger brother Howard was born in 1940, as I said before. My father being chair of the council for 3 years on the trot, towards the end of the 30s. He was chair of the council when the original park was opened. And when my younger brother was born in 1940, they decided to call him Howard Addison Smith, after Addison Howard.
You wouldn't remember the park being opened, would you?
No.
No, because you were...
No, it was a very nasty day, a wet day in March 1937. And I was only 4 then, so...
Do you remember it, Arthur? Do you remember the park being opened?
I do, yes.
Were you there?
No, but it was open when we came home from school. And I believe it snowed a lot that day, but everywhere was soaking wet. And I remember, of course, sitting on the seats and that kids had put their feet on, and we went home smothered all down the backside. When Mum wasn't too pleased, and myself and my brother, and all the kids, I suppose, went home like it.
Yeah.
Living in Margaret's Road, we were the nearest people to it.
Right, yeah.
I can remember it opening, yeah, as I say, it was a lousy day.
Yeah. What about on Sundays? Could you go in the park on Sundays?
Well, it was always open, yeah.
Could you play on the swings and everything on a Sunday?
Oh, I don't know about that, I can't remember, but...
Because I've heard that they chained the swings up so you couldn't use them on a Sunday.
See, in those days, you didn't have the same freedom on a Sunday that kids have today. I can remember we weren't allowed to have toys out. We could read books and draw, but we weren't allowed to do much else.
What, on a Sunday?
And everybody had to go to Sunday school morning and afternoon.
Yeah. Which Sunday school did you go to?
I went to the Western Chapel along the road, where we were married. Yeah.
Right. And did you go to Sunday school?
Oh yes, of course. You had to go, you know.
Were you naughty at Sunday school?
Oh no.
No.
You can see the little ring around my head. No, the park actually was fenced in. It was only 5 acres down the bottom.
Yeah,
and it was all fenced in with 6 foot high fencing. And the park keeper used to lock it up at dusk, so you couldn't get in.
Right.
So it was all chained up.
What did the park keeper do in the daytime?
Keep his eye on you.
Well,
Yes.
he used to walk about watching all the children, and I mean, in autumn time he'd sweep up the leaves and things like that. If I remember right, a chap named Woods was the park keeper. I don't know where he lived, but all us kids in Margaret's Road there, we always called him Timber Woods, obviously, you know.
Was he strict and fierce?
Not when you got to know him, but he got a job to do, and you've got to keep the kids under control. I think he did very well. When you got to know him, he was a really nice old chap.
We don't have park keepers like that now, do we?
No. No.
Do you think we ought to have?
It'd be a good idea to keep the kids under control, but there you go. I mean, like you get dogs in the children's section up there where there shouldn't be any dogs these days.
But there were a lot of dogs loose, weren't there, when you were children?
Yeah.
Everybody kicks on a lead now, don't
Yeah.
they?
We should do.
Well, yeah, should do. But I seem to remember from my own childhood that there were a lot of free dogs running around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you weren't scared of them?
No.
No.
The only trouble is that when we youngsters used to get in trouble with the swings because some of the lads used to like to swing the swing, so they went right over the top of the swing. I was quite something if they could manage it.
Did you ever do it?
No. No.
What sort of, other than swings, what were there when the park first opened?
There were some big swings and some small swings.
Yeah.
A big slide and a small slide, a sand pit, and a small roundabout thing that you could push and jump on, like a box thing.
Right.
But when it first opened, there were just 4 swings and 2 seesaws the very first day it opened.
Oh, right.
And I can't remember how the other things come. We ended up with a slide and one of the big bell-shaped things that floated around on the pole.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
So,
And 2 rocking horses appeared. But
Yeah.
the day it opened, there were just 4 swings and 2 seesaws.
so the kids had to take it in turns?
Yeah. But I mean, that was something after having to play in Market Show pits where everybody done rubbish.
And your parents were happy for you to go to the park?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were the lucky kids in Markets Row. We were about the nearest to it.
Yeah.
Well, us and Cleveland Street. You're talking about Cliff Kent and his brother.
Yeah.
Well,
We were the lucky ones. It was Welshie Howe Park.
no, it wasn't the traffic those days, so
Oh no.
you know
You could just
cross
go
the
walk
road,
across, yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
No.
Because now the kids have to be taken by their parents, don't
Oh
they?
yes,
Yeah.
by car.
Like car.
And you could only get into park through the gates. I mean, it was a thick spinney all along the front. You couldn't see into here. You couldn't see there was a house or anything.
No.
It was
So-
all, really was thick. It'd never been trimmed down for years or anything. But
So the children playing in the park were hidden from the...
oh yes,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So when were the trees taken down then? Do you know?
All the,
Well, they took the trees down when they made the cycle
yeah,
track.
there's no end of trees come down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
but
When would that be, roughly? Any idea?
in
I
the
can't-
80s,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know,
right.
late 70s, 80s. I'm not sure.
Right. Do you remember a train being in the park?
There used to be one in this area here. Can you remember the train in?
No, I don't.
It used to be a
No.
little. Didn't last all that many years, but
No. I can remember one in Bedford in Mill Meadows, but not down here.
Oh.
I can remember the putting green on the front lawn,
yeah.
and a Mrs. Hart ran a cafe in the room toward the back here somewhere.
All
I
right.
can't remember where that is now, but we often used to walk up here of an evening and have a round of putting and sit and talk to her with a cup of coffee.
Oh. So that was before the park was locked of an evening? Or was it just the children's bit that was locked?
Now that was after it opened up.
Well,
After it opened up fully. wasn't
yeah,
it?
they couldn't do any. They couldn't lock it up when it became fully open. But
in the
the other
50s.
part always used to be.
Right.
In the 50s, they took the fence down and took so you could use the whole of the park.
Right.
Those days, my best man was Redding and Johnny. We used to come and play tennis in the courts up here
Yeah.
often, and putting and whatever.
Did you have to pay to play tennis and
No.
putting?
No, We didn't see anybody to pay. We just
I'm
walked
just-
up there and got on with it.
Yeah.
What sort of thing did they sell in the cafe? A
Oh.
cup of coffee?
Teas
Oh, yeah.
and coffees and
Tea,
ice
coffee,
creams and
there was usually cakes and sweets and things.
just
Oh,
snacks.
Mrs. Hart ran it for a long, long time. Her husband was the head porter at the hospital.
Right. And did she, I mean obviously did it as a business.
Oh yes,
Right.
yeah. Because when she gave it up, it never was quite the same again.
No. Perhaps we ought to bring it back.
But she made a go of it. And anyway, the putting green, people used to come up and they'd have a game on there. There's usually a game of cricket on a summer evening, because once it was fully open, they made cricket pitches and
So the putting
there used to
green,
be no end of things.
the putting green is right in front of the house.
On the
Yeah.
lawn in
Behind
the
the
front
ha-ha.
here, yeah.
Behind the ha-ha.
Yeah, all this bit of lawn just inside here. Yeah.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Fantastic.
On top of the wall, you know.
Yeah.
You couldn't climb up onto it, you had to come round here properly.
Right.
You had to go and pay money at the cafe to get
Yeah.
the sticks and balls and stuff.
Ah, but you brought your own tennis racket and played for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, can we talk about the other things that happened in the park? They used to have a Kempston show, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
What was that like?
It started off as a very small thing and it ended up covering the whole park. It became an enormous thing.
And what sort of things were
Oh,
there?
they seemed to get a bigger and better attraction every year to get. Really was an enormous thing. I think it got so huge it suddenly burst.
Yeah. So, what sort of things did they have?
Also, the last I can remember was a motorbike on an aerial wall. That was the main attraction that particular year. They used to have a great big thing. It covered the whole